Hi, I'm Mike,
And I'm Elise,
host of Crackin' One Open with Mike and Elise.
a podcast about brews, news, and pop culture reviews.
Every Friday, we choose a new craft beer from a different brewery and talk about
The history of the beer,
what's in it,
how it was made,
the history of the brewery.
along with tasting notes and more fun facts.
After that, come chill with us as we bring you the latest in pop culture news and reviews.
So check out Kraken When Open, part of the Forgotten Entertainment family.
Hello there, I'm Colleen.
I'm Anders.
And I'm Daniel.
We're three nerds that met through our love of science fiction and fantasy storytelling. Of course, one of our favorites is George Lucas's signature achievement, Star Wars.
And if there's one thing the internet definitely doesn't have enough of, it's nerds talking about Star Wars. So here we are with yet another Star Wars podcast, where each week we discuss one of the films in the current Star Wars canon.
From the sands of Tatooine to the levels of Coruscant, we cover it all. Yet another Star Wars podcast is available wherever you get your podcast and is part of the Forgotten Entertainment family.
Ladies and gentlemen, please notice that exits are conveniently located at the front and rear of this auditorium. When leaving the theater, we suggest that the exit at the front of the auditorium will allow you easier access to the parking areas. Thank you.
Forgotten Cinema is now looking for a new co-host to join myself, Mike Field, because Mike Butler's a bitch. Croupier Revenge is coming. This is my town. You know,
Which is, I would love to do a James Bond podcast.
I'll do it right now. Cancel the other podcast.
You son of a... What about all these women? These are all women, beautiful women. Where are the regular women? He's like, it's Los Angeles.
Is this the movie that's going to end the show? Is going to end the podcast? Because this movie, like, I cannot tell people to watch this movie. Like, I will not. This movie is not good.
You get the hell off this podcast.
Let's take it to the limit one more time.
Hello, I'm Mike Butler.
And I'm Mike Field.
And you're listening to the Forgotten Cinema Podcast Season 9, The Season of Summer. Each episode this season, we're highlighting a film that had a coveted summer release date, but for a variety of reasons was forgotten or straight up ignored by audiences. Whether it was because it was pitted against a tentpole film or was given a limited release run to fill out a studio schedule. We'll discuss what we love about the movie or maybe don't love about it, but we'll always recommend you revisit it. If you enjoy our podcast, we want to hear from you. We're on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Find us. Our podcast is available on all platforms with a backlog of over 100 episodes for your listening pleasure.
Nice job.
Right?
Woohoo! We are episode 11.
Yes.
Yes. We're almost at the end of not really summer. We're at the end of July. Right, because this ends at the end of July, I believe.
Right.
Yeah. So we're smack dab in the summer. We hope you enjoy your pool, and we hope you're enjoying the weather out there, the nice heat. Butler's shaking his head because he doesn't like the hot summer days.
I was gonna say I'm going to enjoy your pool.
Oh boy! All right. Well, I guess
listen. You got the time now, man. There's gonna be some pool.
All right. So today we are doing the movie, the 1996 Western mystery Lone Star. It's also an indie. In the Texas border town of Frontera, Sheriff Sam Deeds digs up the past when he finds an old skull in the desert. As he traces the murder of Sheriff Charlie Wade 40 years earlier, Deeds' investigation points toward his late father, the much-loved Deputy Buddy Deeds. Ignoring warnings not to delve in any deeper, Sam rekindles a romance with his high school sweetheart while bringing up old tensions in the town and exposing secrets long put to rest. That's a part of the story. I would think that a better synopsis is also that this is a story about people that, relationships and, past and present. That's a part of the story. So that's a synopsis of a piece of the story.
It's also a little wrong that the investigation is what stirs up this. It just
Yeah. We got to write something, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. So Lone Star has a runtime of 135 minutes. It's rated R. Production budget of $5 million. Its release date is June 21st, 1996. So right in the summer. Right before, a week or so before the July 4th weekend, which is a pretty big movie weekend, especially for Will Smith back in the day. Opening weekend, it did $232,000. But don't let that fool you because it did $12 million total worldwide and domestic. So well exceeding its $5 million production budget.
So it must have lasted a long time in theaters?
I believe so, yes. Okay. It also was nominated for Best Original Screenplay, so that probably also helped as well.
Yes.
Production company was Castle Rock Entertainment, distributed by Sony Pictures Classics. On the 21st, it went up against The Hunchback of Notre Dame, the animated movie.
Yes.
Most people feel that way. and Eraser, the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie.
Also,
Yeah.
that's probably my least favorite Arnold movie.
Really? Least favorite. You like The Sixth Day, right?
I do like The Sixth Day. I think The Sixth Day has got some fun stuff.
Least favorite. I can't remember a lot of Raw Deal.
Raw Deal is super cheesy.
I don't remember a lot of Eraser. I remember some parts, but not a lot. I guess that's a...
I remember watching it as a kid and all this action's happening. And even as, 1996, I'm 9, I was like, this is dumb.
Yeah. They had that one scene, though. Wasn't there one scene in Eraser that was... Oh, man, I don't know.
They had like a night vision sniper scene that I remember being like kind of interesting. But...
Just to give another shout out to another podcast, this is probably a good Triple T episode for Peña Comics.
Oh, Eraser?
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's probably a good one for them.
I know which T I would choose.
All right. So on the 28th of June, which is the week after, you had The Nutty Professor, which is funny. That's the Eddie Murphy movie. And Striptease. That's Demi Moore, right?
That's the Demi Moore one, yeah.
I remember liking that, but I've never seen it ever since.
It's got a better story than Showgirls.
Yeah, but Showgirls is an acquired taste. Showgirls is
what it is.
It's specific, but you have to, like, a lot of stuff went into Showgirls specifically making it the way it is. Like, it's purposely cheesy.
Oh no, I know. Yeah.
I wonder, would I still like Striptease? I know Burt Reynolds is in that, right? Is Burt Reynolds in that? Yeah,
I think so.
Man, I feel old. I can't even remember these movies. This is 96. The week before, which is June 14th, you had The Cable Guy. I do remember that movie. And then limited release, you had Moll Flanders and Stealing Beauty. So not a lot going on that month of June. The Cable Guy's a big release.
That's him coming right off The Mask, right?
No, yeah, The Cable Guy's a huge release.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, The Cable Guy was right after Ace Ventura too. As well. It's when he was hot, and then The Cable Guy came out. I was like, "Oh, this isn't like Jim Carrey," but it's like
because that's a dark.
The Cable Guy's good, yeah. And then Nutty Professor was a big hit. It was very funny. All right, so this movie is written and directed by John Sayles. He has done Matawan, 8 Men Out, The Secret of Rowan Inish. He has been nominated for an Oscar for writing for Passion Fish. He's also written Honey Dripper, Sunshine State, and he also is a writer and I believe a consulting producer on the Alienist TV show. I don't know if he did second season, but I know it's the first season. Cinematography by Stuart Dryburgh. He has done. He was nominated for an Oscar for The Piano. He's also done The Recruit, a Butler fave.
It's on the list. We'll get to it at some point.
Bridget Jones's Diary and Men in Black International. Composer, what's up? Composer was Mason Daring. He has done Prefontaine, Where the Heart Is, and The Opposite of Sex. Edited also by John Sayles. John Sayles pretty much edits his own movies. So all the ones I listed before, he's edited. Produced by R. Paul Miller, who's done Prozac Nation and Snow Angels, and then Maggie Renzi, who did Girl Fight, and she also produces a lot of Sayles films as well. Cast was Chris Cooper as Sam Deeds. Cooper has won an Oscar for his role in Adaptation. He's also the father in October Sky, and he's also in American Beauty. Matthew McConaughey as Buddy Deeds. Now, Matthew McConaughey is playing Buddy Deeds. He's playing the father of Sam Deeds, but it's 40 years in the past. So they do have some transitions between past and present in terms of the storytelling. McConaughey obviously has won an Oscar for Dallas Buyers Club. He's also in Days Confused and the TV show True Detective. Chris Christopherson as Charlie Wade. He's nominated for an Oscar for Songwriter. He's also in the 1976 version of A Star is Born with Barbara Streisand. He's in Payback and Blade. Elizabeth Peña, who plays Pilar, she's in La Bamba. That's how I know her from. Predator 2 as well, and Batteries Not Included. Joe Morton as Dell. He's in Terminator 2, Judgment Day, Speed, and the TV show Eureka, which I believe you like, Butler, right?
I liked the first couple of seasons. Eureka was fun.
Okay, that's fine. I'm not knocking it. Clifton James is Hollis. He's in Live and Let Die, Superman 2, 8 Men Out, and he has an uncredited role in The Untouchables. Miriam Colon as Mercedes Cruz. She's in Scarface, 1995 Sabrina, and then Go, The Dream Begins. I have to yell it like that. She plays Elizabeth Peña's Pilar's mother, and I should say that Hollis. Pardon me. Ron Canada plays Otis. Otis is Dell's father, who was Joe Morton. Ron Canada has also been in Adventures in Babysitting. I know that. Wedding Crashers and National Treasure. Stephen Medeo as Cliff from Slapshot, Cobb, and G.I. Jane. And then Frances McDormand is in this movie. She plays the bunny. She plays Sam Deeds' ex-wife, but it's like one scene. But she's really good in it. And if you don't know already, she's won 3 Oscars. She actually won 4 because she produced Nomadland, but she's won 3 acting Oscars: Fargo, Nomadland, and 3 Billboards outside of Ebbing, Missouri. And she's been nominated for 3 Oscars: North Country, Almost Famous, and Mississippi Burning. All right, Butler. This was my pick. I have always liked this movie. So before I get to your thoughts, I have always liked this movie. And I was a little, not nervous, but when I was watching it, I was like, oh, is this movie going to hold up for me? And I actually like this movie a lot more. And I know it's 135 minutes. I did watch it in 2 sittings because not because I fell asleep, but I knew I wasn't going to make it. So
this is the first one in a while that took you 2 sittings, right? You've been pretty
but it was because of work. It was because I had to work that night. I knew I wasn't going to get to it. So it was kind of like a logistics thing.
Okay.
So I wanted to start it because I didn't want to have to go into like Thursday night, which is the night before we record on Friday morning.
Right.
I didn't want to go into Thursday night knowing that I had to watch this full movie.
I got you.
So that being said, I did watch it in 2 sittings, but it did not feel long to me. I actually like this movie a lot more. So I'm very curious if you dug this film, because I know it's not plot driven. It's more character driven than anything. But Butler, go ahead.
No, I thought this is a really good film. It is part of it's plot driven, but it almost feels like there's 3 separate movies going on at the same time. Mm-hmm. Granted, 2 of them have the same character, and then a third story, which is the one that's more kind of Joe Morton's character. It seems like it's its own completely separate story.
It seems like with the Del and Otis stuff, the father and son dynamic seemed like that was probably, cut out of the script a lot. You know what I mean? Like there's probably more to their story.
Oh, you think so? Okay.
And I kind of left me wanting more. I wanted to know a little bit more about them and the you kind of got the idea about the division between them. I would have liked maybe one flashback that showed what pushed Del away.
Yes, I would have liked that. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I think you kind of get that in their conversation. Just it wasn't like one particular moment or one particular thing. It was just a combination of things that kind of pushed Otis and Del away.
Well, you get the sense that, Otis and Del's mother did not get along because that's, you know what I mean?
Right.
They got divorced, they got separated, and Otis and Del's mother, always told Del that,
Otis never asked about him.
Right. And then his present wife tells Del he never asked her about him.
Yeah. He was getting information from his uncle the whole time.
Because he sees like this kind of shrine to Del and all his achievements and stuff like that. So you kind of wanted something after that. You kind of wanted like, okay, not a reconciliation, but just kind of an understanding.
Well, I feel like you kind of get that when you get Del and Chet talking about, are we going to see Grandpa? Grandpa lives here, right? Your father lives here. He doesn't even call him your grandpa. And then Del's like, well, you know what? Maybe we can set up the backyard. Maybe we can invite him over for like a barbecue.
Right.
And he also says, he goes up to his son, Chet. And at this point, Del had been super tightly wound all about, you got to join the military. You got to do this. And Del's story, not just his story with Otis, but also the story with what's going on at his army base.
Yes.
Kind of causes Del to tell Chet, the army is just one choice for you, but I would be happy. I want you to do whatever makes you happy.
Yeah.
I want you to choose your own path.
Well, I think you get the sense that Del, either his wife, they split and the son's now living with him, or the wife has passed away and now they're left together, because you get the sense that he just moved in with his son. They just moved there, but you get the sense that.
Who's the lady he's moving?
I don't know. No. What lady?
There's a lady in that house.
No, Otis's house.
No, Del has a woman in the house that they talk to when they're moving in stuff. There's a lady that he's talking to.
Oh, I don't remember that. I feel
like he's just separated from his son in terms of he's always put work first, and his son just is kind of closed off to his father.
Well, if I don't remember that, then there's definitely stuff that's been left out. I don't think they shot it, but definitely stuff they left out of the script or something like that, because there's more to that story. Granted, the main crux of the story, which we haven't gotten to, is everything around Sam Deeds and Buddy Deeds, and what Sam Deeds thought of his own father. Like everyone loves Buddy Deeds. He's he was cherished in that town.
There's a Buddy Deeds that the town knows, and the Buddy Deeds that
his father. He says,
he knows.
Yeah, at home he was judge, jury, and executioner. No, I watched this in '96, so I'm 21, excuse me. I can't do math. I'm about 21. So I dug it. I know I liked it, but I think now watching it that I really love a lot of the lines in this movie. I really love the dialogue. I love just the undercurrent. I love the last line in the movie. I love Chris Cooper in this movie. McConaughey's being McConaughey. He's good. He's reserved, but you kind of get a glimpse of like what you're going to get, because this was his first kind of not big role, but this was a big time role for him. in his earlier in his career.
Sure. I mean, he's really only in the exact scene that's in the trailer for this film.
Well, he's in a couple. He's in like the end.
You get the end where he has one line and he's in maybe 30 seconds of it.
No, I got you.
The beginning, it's like a 2-minute scene, and then you get the other scene in the drive-in movie thing where he doesn't have a lot of lines. It's more just
but it's
action. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think like the quote unquote twist. I don't think it's presented as a twist. Like I don't think you're supposed to be surprised by it.
No, I saw that coming miles away.
And we're talking. So, I mean, go ahead. You can you tell, I guess, everybody what the twist is. If you haven't seen the movie, don't listen.
So throughout the whole movie, you get the fact that Sam and Pilar are. It's Pilar, right?
Pilar.
Yeah. Sam and Pilar were in love as teenagers, and they were kind of separated by their parents. Both Pilar's mother and Sam's father didn't want them to see each other, which doesn't really jive with a lot of the rest of the film, whereas everybody's supposed to be like everybody's buddy's friend. The Mexicans are buddy's friends. The black community's buddy's friends. The white people are buddy's friends. So why would he not want this relationship? And so at the end, Sam realizes that Pilar's father was actually killed a year and a half before she was born, so it couldn't possibly be who she thought her father was. And it turns out Pilar's father was Buddy.
Yeah.
So they are actually half brother, half sister.
Right. And
that is why their parents didn't want them to see each other.
Right. And they obviously have a sexual relationship in this movie. And at the end of the film, they kind of, Sam Dietz figures it out and he tells Pilar, and it's like, they're just basically like, they don't care. And honestly, I mean, it didn't bother me. I know that, we're supposed to be like, ew, but like it didn't bother me. And
no.
You know what I mean? Cause they went off and she says, we, even when we were both married to other people, I always felt that there was a connection between us. And she was saying it like, is it because he's just we have the same father? And Sam is like, no, I don't believe that. I believe there is you know what I mean? Like, there is a connection. And her last line in the movie, and he's just like, they're like talking about how like, let's just be together. He's like, I don't believe that. I don't believe that it's just because we have the same dad. And she's like, so we just start new. We start from scratch. Yeah. And she's like, forget the Alamo. And I'm like, oh, that's a great line. I love that line.
Everything I've done has been to get back to you, basically, is what he's saying.
Right. So it's just, I'm just going to sit here and wax all over talk about the dialogue and whatnot, but I don't want to do that too much. Hold tight, Butler. It's time to make some money.
All right. Today's podcast is presented by Podgo. Podgo is the easiest way for you to monetize your podcast, providing podcasters with a flat rate for ad space so you always know how much you get when you include an ad from Podgo. Apply today to become a member and immediately be connected with advertisers that fit your audience. That's podgo.co at podgo.co. And remember to be sure to add our podcast in the How Did You Hear About Podgo section of the application.
One of the lines that I really like is when Sam is at the bar and he's talking to the bartender. The bartender is basically complaining about how, it's being overrun by Mexicans. That's what he's saying. Like the town's it's a border town, but it's
right.
Like,
and
there's
going to be more of them than us.
Yeah. And he's like, I'm as liberal as the next guy. And Sam's like, if the next guy is a redneck.
Yeah.
Which I liked.
I like that Sam is very honest with like his opinion of people and like they just take it.
Yeah.
But he doesn't mince words, but he's not like a dick about it.
Well, I think that this whole movie is about people. It's about people relating to people and relationships and people living in the real world. Now, I mean, it's easy to take this film and equate it to how we live these days, where everyone's online and they think that social media is real life, but that's a different tale. But one of the parts of this movie where I thought was basically laid out what this movie's about is when he goes across the border to talk to the guy that witnessed the murder Sheriff Charlie Wade had. And he's like, he talks about governments. He's like, it's not about who's in charge, who government does this. It's about people.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the whole point of the story. It's about these people are all live together. And yes, there are biases and prejudices and people that don't like people because of the color of their skin, but they still all live together. And it's like, you know what I mean? It's I don't know. I appreciated that. Even though there's people in here that have backwards opinions, it doesn't matter. This is their country. This is where they live. This is their town. This is, you know what I mean? Everybody put roots here.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Like everybody goes across the border. It really is a story about people because Sam's investigation isn't really, I mean, it's a 40-year-old murder. It's like a 40-year-old murder. And it's not, it's more for his own edification. It's more for his own peace of mind, trying to connect a piece of his father or prove that his father did something because he had a bad relationship with his father. It's not so much a cop case. It's not like he even says, I'm going over the board. I'm going just for me to talk to somebody.
Right. And he actually has the badge off when he goes over there, which is probably also for his safety. But yeah, he took the badge off.
So it's really, it's a police case, but it really isn't.
It's not. It's not. It's more about him investigating his past.
Right. Who was Buddy Deeds. Right.
And you get the sense that he doesn't want it to be Charlie Way because he doesn't want to have to do this. But, he's almost, I wonder if ever in his mind, it's like, I kind of want to prove my dad wasn't as great as everyone says.
Oh, I think that absolutely that's what it is. I want this to be Buddy.
But even when he finds out the truth and he finds out what happened that night, which is it wasn't Buddy Deeds that shoots the sheriff. It was actually Hollis because Hollis had already witnessed him murder. And
I couldn't take him murdering another man. Yeah.
Which, you know what? He needed to do that to Charlie Wade. But like the fact that he says, everyone's going to think Buddy did it. And he's like, he's a legend. He can take it.
Exactly.
Which I love. I love that too.
I think that's an acceptance that, Buddy again did the right thing. Mm-hmm. Maybe not the lawful thing.
Right.
But even Sam, who throughout this entire movie is very lawful. He's very, this is the law. These are the rules. He's like, God damn it. My dad did the right thing.
And you get that. Give away. Right. And you get that same idea with Miriam Colon, which is Pilar's mother, when she is at her estate or she's at her house and she sees Mexicans who have just crossed the border into America and she's going to call the border patrol. And then the second time,
it's just wetbacks.
Right. And the second time, one of the people that work for her is also bringing people over. And one of the women, his fiance, breaks her leg.
Right.
And so he brings her to her house and says, can you please help? And then you get the flashback of like, that's how she came into the country.
Yeah. And she's been complaining this whole time about illegals.
And I think it's very easy. And I think this it goes to Sayles. It's very easy for someone to just not really write that part for Cologne. Like that is just kind of like, oh, she's somebody who doesn't, she doesn't like that. She doesn't like that they crossed the border, and she could be a supporting character. You don't give her any scenes or anything like that.
Right.
But she does. He gives her a complete arc in this movie. And I think that we talk about the Dell and Hollis stuff with Joe Morton. The Dell and Otis stuff with Joe Morton in Canada. You could have just ignored that as well. So the fact that they all have little mini arcs that are being completed, I think absolutely just makes you appreciate the movie that much more and makes you appreciate John Sayles that much more. I'm a Sayles fan, if anyone hasn't noticed.
I do like Mercedes Cruz's whole plot. Like you said, it's easy to just write her as, there are people that are racist against their own races too. And so not give her that arc, and you give her that arc. And she's still the way she kind of is at the end. She still tells Enrique, in English, you're in America.
Right.
But she's still helping them out and getting her to fix her leg and not calling Border Patrol on them. But on the other hand, you do get it with Tony Plana's character, who you only briefly see. It turns out he's going to try to run for sheriff against Sam because basically the city council, including the mayor, want him to run against Sam because Sam's not kind of playing ball.
Yeah, it was. But
you get that moment with him. In his character's name is Ray, you get that moment where he's arresting another Mexican-American guy or Mexican guy.
Oh no, he's right.
He's talking crap about him, like, oh well, you're just a traitor. You're a cop. When are they going to trade you out for something else? It's only because you're playing their game.
Yeah,
and I think that's very interesting because that also plays into the army subplot as well.
Yep.
With the
base is being shut down, right?
The base is going to be shut down, but it's going to take a few years.
Yeah.
He even said Dell says he's stationed there for 3 years, but he gets to experience, a lot of the Black Americans that are joining the army base are because they are trying to find a way out of their bad living conditions. They're basically living in a bad part of town and they want to get out. And this is an easy way for them to get out. And he's got to kind of learn that it's not just about discipline, that these people are joining the army because this is their way out.
Whereas you get the idea that Dell joined up because he believed in a cause.
Right.
And if this is like the 90s, you probably would assume that Dell probably joined up. I guess he probably served. Well, I guess not really Vietnam.
He did. I think he did Desert Storm. Because I think he's got some medals for being in the Middle East.
You're right.
On the
but and his conversation with the female soldier who, at the beginning of the movie, you have there's a
shooting at the club.
Shooting at Otis's club. I can't remember what's it called? The O Club?
The Oak Club, something like that, yeah.
And, you know, it's because a lot of people at the Oak Club are from the base. So he has to investigate, and that's, you know.
That's how he hooks up with his father.
Right. They already knew that he already knew Del was in town. They already knew they just were avoiding each other, or Del was avoiding Otis.
Right.
And he's trying to investigate, like, why, you know, he should just ban it for everyone on base to go to. But when he talks to the female officer, because I guess she fails a drug test, female soldier, she fails a drug test. He's legitimately trying to ask her, like, why are you in the army?
Right.
And it's almost like it's an extension of him also trying to relate to his son, because there's only that one scene with him and his son when he tells him you could do whatever you want to do. There's really no other scenes with his son.
Yeah, you got their moving in scene and stuff like that, but yeah.
So I think he's trying to understand, I guess, a young person's decision-making skills, and why, like you said, why would you join the army? And he has to come to terms with that and understand that.
I love that scene, and I can't. Again, the cast list is written so poorly.
It's just so many, yeah, I know.
And there's so many different characters in this. She's not Athena, right? Because Athena is Otis's wife.
Listen. You're asking me who forgot that Del had a wife.
Yeah, so I can't. So anyway, her scene, that young officer's scene where when he asked her why, and she goes, you know, I take orders because it's easy to take orders.
You do what they say. Yeah.
You do what they say. You don't believe, you know, it's not, she says it's not our country.
Right.
You know, it's their country. We just have to play by their rules. And if they're giving us orders, it's easier to play by their rules.
Right.
And I thought that was, especially in this day and age, I was like, that still resonates really like.
That's a lot. There's a lot of themes in this movie that are definitely present in today, which is again, I'm going to say it again, goes to the writing and goes to just Sayles' grasp of human nature and just kind of people relating to each other. This is Forgotten Summer. And I already know why this movie, and I'm not getting to that point, but I already know why this movie's forgotten. It's because it was the wrong time. It shouldn't have come out in the summer. This is not a summer film. I know it takes place in Texas, but it's not a summer film.
It's hot.
Yeah. But this movie screams of being in the fall just because of its. I wonder if this movie came out more closer towards Oscar season, if you would have seen some nominations for like Cooper or not, maybe or Peña or something like that, or even Joe Morton. You know what I mean?
I think you would. Yeah. I think that whole scene is great. And then you get Del telling her why he joined the army.
Right.
And it wasn't for the country.
Right.
It was for the guy next to you.
Mm-hmm.
It was to do something where you're saving someone's life, where you're helping them out, where you're picking them up when they're down. It's not about what side you're on or whose flag you're wearing. It's about being with people and helping people.
Right.
And then that kind of like helps. That connection kind of helps him out. And obviously he gives her another chance. He's like, there'll be an investigation, but I just want to talk to you because this is going to go a long way to.
He wants to know.
I want to know exactly why you do what you're doing.
What did you think of the transitions between present to past and then back?
I loved them. Right? I thought they were
Aren't
great.
They great? Yeah.
They're so well done. There's no fades. It's just the camera goes from one character to like the first one you get with McConaughey's flashback. You go down, they're in the Mexican restaurant. They go down to the fajitas.
You just see that. Well, you see him start the story. And then obviously the old man's hands go down. Hollis's and old man's hands go down. So clearly that's in that, you know what I mean?
He has to pull out and walk away.
Right, yeah.
And then young hands come in from the other side and lifts the fajitas. And there's a $10 bill in there.
Yeah.
And it's McConaughey. And I was like, that's awesome.
Isn't it? Yeah.
There's so many of those flashbacks that are so well done and so awesome. The other one in Otis's bar is really good.
Yep. Every time they do that, and it's all in camera, which makes it that much more interesting and much more, I'm appreciative of it.
Yeah.
So I was reading reviews of these, and I'm not going to say the guy's name, but like he complained about how it's very, very indie filmmaking work. And he was like bitching about the look of the film and how it wasn't like, there wasn't anything like fancy with the shot work and the stuff like that. I go, number one, that's not the type of movie it is. Okay. You know what I mean? Like,
I think the transitions are super fancy shot work.
But this review is not from 96. This review is like a retrospective kind of thing. So it's some dude looking back. It's like, that's not the movie. And number two, they are good. I've seen a much, much worse.
The transition in Otis's bar not only transitions the camera and then pans back up, but transitions the lighting in a way that you don't even notice that all of a sudden the lights have changed in the bar that they're in.
I got news for this unnamed critic, because I don't want to give him any press for the four people that listen to that podcast, but that's called filmmaking, idiot. That's filmmaking. And if you're a filmmaker or you're someone who appreciates filmmaking and you watch this, all you can sit there and go like, oh, how do they do that? That's awesome. I like that.
And to the other comment about it looking like an indie film, it doesn't really look like an indie film.
Yeah.
It looks like a personal film. It looks like a film that's a very personal film that's set where it's set. Everything's just real because it's a real place. Otis's bar, going into Mexico and the tire tracks. I mean, it's all really cool sets. They shoot in really interesting locations that are locations you're not going to see in California. Well, maybe in Southern California, but most of California, all the way to New York. That is distinctly Texas, on the border Texas.
Yeah, especially when he's at the Native American shop where the guy's selling all those things, and
it's a great
and he's
scene,
trying to sell him everything. It's just like, oof. Where he basically finds out that Buddy Deeds, his father, had a mistress. I love that when he comes back, he's like, apparently my Buddy Deeds had a lady for 15 years and no one told me.
Buddy Deeds is the greatest guy. Mother's a saint.
Yeah.
Well, Buddy Deeds had a mistress.
For 15 years, everyone seemed to know about it. Yeah, exactly. And you get a little bit in the idea of, I'm curious if this, what you think about how he learns that Buddy kind of cuts deals with everybody. And that's how he was a sheriff. That's why everyone loved him, because Buddy Deeds was understanding and reasonable. And plus, when you compare him to how Charlie Wade was, who just basically wanted a piece of everything, you couldn't do anything without getting him. Charlie Wade having a piece of it,
or a bullet in the head,
right? And if you ticked him off, he would just shoot you, which was his move. Was like, show me your gun, and then he's just going to shoot him.
Yeah.
So, how the guy that was cleaning out the trash cans, who's obviously a prisoner in the jail.
Yep.
And he was like, oh, your father had me build his deck while you were.
While you were in jail? Yeah.
So like that kind of thing. Yeah, sure. And your mother made me lunch every day. It's like, who wouldn't want that? I'm outside, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's he takes care of the people in town. What do you think of that?
Buddy does the right thing, not necessarily the lawful thing. And it's very similar to Del and Otis and their relationship. That's kind of how they're able to take these very separate stories and put them together. Although Otis kind of comes back into Sam's life at the end, he kind of rounds out that story.
Right.
Del and Sam are on very similar paths with their fathers. Otis at the same time isn't like a super staunch, I got to do this. These are the rules. Got to follow the rules. And Sam's the other way. He is, I got to follow the rules. And his father was, I got to do the right thing, which isn't necessarily the lawful thing,
right?
But is the right thing. And that's something Sam couldn't get his head around, because that's wrong to Sam.
Yeah.
And it takes until that last moment where he realizes with Wade's death, the right thing was absolutely to hide the body.
What he did
the
was
wrong
right.
thing would have been to arrest the mayor for that.
But it's very easy for somebody in Buddy's position who cuts favors, who does the right thing instead of the lawful thing, who takes care of people. It's very easy for somebody to get corrupted by that. So I can understand Sam being hesitant in terms of looking up to his father in that way.
If you tell, depending on how you tell those stories, it almost makes him seem exactly like Wade.
Right. Because exactly. What's stopping Buddy from taking money here or there, or you know what I mean? Like getting a free lunch or whatever. Where does it end?
He's only doing it for the cut.
Right. So, so it's understandable Sam's kind of consternation about his father. What did you think of Bunny? Because I couldn't get a take on what they were saying too much.
I think Frances McDormand did an amazing job with Bunny. I think her character was so well done. I think it's unnecessary.
But
if there's anything extraneous in this film, I think it's that scene. But I think it's interesting to go back and see Sam's ex-wife, what happened between them. He didn't realize that she was, quote unquote high strung. But I mean, she takes 8,000 pills.
Yeah, she talks about her father and how her father,
The father liked Sam more than I think she liked Sam. And it was all about, just taking him to football games and having a son to talk to.
Right.
But I think that scene is really well done. It's really interesting. I just don't think it necessarily needed to be in the film. I don't know what it brought to the...
Well, he needed to get his stuff from his dad, that stuff.
As a plot device, yeah. But I didn't get what it did in terms of... What did Bunny serve in terms of telling Sam's story, or in terms of relating to the theme of the movie? I wasn't
just
quite
maybe
sure about
where Sam went, why Sam left.
Just you had to see it. And also naming her Bunny was really confusing.
Yes.
Because I thought they kept calling her Buddy.
Well,
and I was like, so he married a girl named Buddy? That's so gross.
But,
But then it turns out it was Bunny.
But here's the thing. She is obviously from wealth. she is obviously someone that like she doesn't pay for that home. Like,
Oh, no
you
way.
know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Her
Dad
dad's
pays for the
probably
home.
Big Oil, and Bunny is probably, you know, either a nickname or, you know, what you call the socialite girl.
No, I get you. Yeah.
And she's probably tucked away, loving football, and that's what she loves. And she's found one thing that she's super passionate about because that makes her happy, so that nothing else, because everything else makes her sad, kind of thing. You know, she's,
Yeah.
you know, and she takes those tons of pills.
When they got married, she didn't act like that. And then,
Right.
like, she just let it go and she revealed herself to him. And that was what she really was.
Well, there also might have been, you know, she's in a relationship probably that wasn't truly love, and, you know, probably I'm sure the breakup didn't help, and the way her father treats her, like, I'm sure it's like she's handled.
Right.
You know
No,
what I mean?
yeah,
She's
absolutely.
handled, yeah.
That, like, he'll never bring me the box seats. I know football better. I'd be more of a fan than anybody. They deserve
Right.
to be in the crowds. You know, it's better. I need to be with people who like football. It's like clearly the dad didn't want her in the box because, like you
Yes.
said, she's tucked away to not
Yeah.
show her off to anybody.
And here, that again, that goes to probably a lot goes to probably Frances McDormand bringing what she brought to the role. I'd be curious to know the conversations between her and Sayles in terms of like how they decided to play this.
Right.
But again, it's a small role. It's one scene, and yet we're sitting here talking about it because it was
She
really well
steals
done. Yeah.
She's so good.
And you know, it's Chris Cooper in terms of his acting is always not methodical, but just kind of
He's low key kind of.
he is low key. But there's a confidence in his performances, especially in this, where he is not concerned about everyone around him in terms of overshadowing him. He knows like his role, and the Sam Deeds character is a character that is a lot is internal, is somebody
Right.
who, like, I get the sense that is a good cop, but doesn't really want to do it anymore. You know, likes being sheriff, you know, probably wanted to be sheriff because that was the job he could get. And they said, like, and they came to him like, if you run, you'll win. So he needed a gig. He needed a job.
He wanted to move. Yeah. He
Yeah.
basically says that.
Yeah. So, but like, he doesn't feel, there's no, like, I need to prove myself. Clearly still in love with Pilar, you know, and I guess, cause he doesn't, like, how long has he been sheriff? 2 years he's been in, is that what he says?
He's been a sheriff for a couple of years.
Right.
Yeah.
But they've never really, this is the first time that they've kind of interacted, him and Pilar, probably because of the investigation and brought up old memories and all that stuff.
Right. Well, he gets an excuse to kind of meet her when her son is brought in.
Right.
Because
right.
he was helping put in that stereo into the stolen car.
Right.
Or the stolen stereo into the other guy's car. It wasn't a stolen car.
Mhm.
And that was like kind of his excuse to then meet Pilar. And then they meet again at Buddy's, you know, statue, which that's an ugly, ugly copper painting of him. That's like so terrible.
Well, I'm sure, you know, it's $5 million movie. I'm sure,
Yeah.
I'm sure it's not copper at all.
Oh, no. I was just like, oof. Yeah, it's not a good likeness.
I mean, we haven't talked about Elizabeth Peña. I actually really liked her in this movie, and she's another character in this movie that's internal a lot of times. I mean, you see her daughter a couple times. And,
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? The daughter's like, you know, what are they singing about? What do you think? And everyone should know at that point it's love, you know, like that kind of thing. And she's, you know, her fight with her mother in the kitchen, and everyone's watching, and the mother leaves, and the person that works at Tu Madre, lo siento.
Oh, yeah.
Couldn't stop.
I thought that was great. Yep.
That was funny too. So, you know,
She's got some great moments. I didn't realize she died so young.
yeah, she passed away 2014. Yeah, way too young.
But yeah, she's fantastic in this movie. Like you said, if this movie had come out in the winter season, I'm sure she would have been nominated.
I think so. I think this film would have, and maybe we can get into a little bit the forgotten stuff that we kind of talked about before. But I think if this movie came out December, November, if it came out like, you know, just before the award season, and I'm trying to think here's the thing though, like this movie came out in 96. The year that Shakespeare in Love came out, which is 98, was really the first year where they kind of went hardcore with Oscar mailers and, you know, pushing to the Academy to vote. Oh, hey, you know, like kind of like inundating with screeners and all that stuff. It became like its own business model in terms of like, okay, we need to spend this amount of money to just flood the Academy members with all of this content so that they can vote for us.
It's also the year that the Best Picture winner didn't count.
Yeah, because
it was stolen.
Yeah, Shakespeare in Love is a great film. It's a really good film.
It's good.
It's a really good film. I'll say really good film. It's not a Best Picture, and you can't. I never listen. I know this. I know the Academy is it's always political. All the nods and the wins and all that stuff, and that's fine. You win, congrats. You get nominated, congrats, whatever. But how can you give Spielberg Best Director for a movie that's not a Best Picture? How do you tell somebody like you were the best person in this entire year that directed a film, but your film's just not that good? Sorry, like that doesn't make any sense. But anyways, I digress. I do think that if it was released later in the year, it would have gotten more nods than just for writing.
Yeah, absolutely. If you push some screeners out, like maybe people didn't really pay attention to it.
Yeah,
but you push some screeners out and stuff. Absolutely,
you can make a case for Peña. You can make a case for Joe Morton. You can make a case for Chris Cooper in this movie. I think those are the three people that just because they had enough scenes,
right?
I think that you could make a case for a nomination for them. Absolutely. So that's how I feel. But the reason why it's forgotten, I think it's because it did not belong in the summer. I think a lot of our summer films this season, this forgotten summer season, the reason why a lot of them are forgotten is because they're put out in the wrong time.
I think a lot of your films were.
Whoa.
I think we picked, I said it last episode, I think we picked different types of summer films, but I think you focused on ones that didn't belong in the summer, and that's why they kind of failed.
Well, I'm pretty sure Lone Star was an earlier pick of mine. In terms
Lone Star's been on the list for a long time. Right. Yes.
So I think this is one of the movies that I chose because when we first started talking about the podcast,
this is a movie people should talk about and they don't.
That's absolutely. I cannot recommend this movie enough to people. I cannot recommend this movie enough to people that love writing, that just love good stories, that just want to sit back and watch something that's just kind of like you're being told a story about a certain part of the country in two different parts of the time, even though there's a couple times in the past, but those are really just to help the present day story move along.
Yes, they're not like inundated. If you watch based on the trailer, you're going to go into the trailer thinking it's some kind of dark comedy, which it's not. And you're also going to go into it thinking there's a lot more McConaughey, which is interesting because this is the actual trailer from 1996 that I'm talking about.
Right.
And they really pushed that McConaughey angle, which I thought was really surprising.
Well, I think they pushed the McConaughey angle because they were trying to push the mystery element of it.
Right.
So they were trying to put, like, even in the synopsis, they were trying to push his father wasn't who he said he was. Like, he's going to find out dirty secrets about his family. And that's part of the story, but it's really, again, it's about the people that live in this town.
Yes.
And their relationships and where they're from and where they're going and how they interact with everybody. And even small characters, you are still intrigued because you want to see this would be a really good series. You know what I mean?
You could do something like, absolutely.
This would be because you have a basis for a bunch of people. I just think it would get melodramatic. I don't want it to get melodramatic. Like, I'd want it to just be like we always talk about 6 episodes.
This would have to be short, and then you'd have to leave your entire cast behind or characters and go into a new location.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. The same.
Or
here's America you don't see kind of a thing.
Or you could do like, I mean, we're going to pull from Fargo here, but you
different eras.
Yes. You could do like this present day story with Chris Cooper. Sure. And then the second season, you could do the McConaughey story and have the past, like all that stuff.
That's true.
I think you could, I think this is definitely a really good candidate to get done like that. Will it get done? Probably not, but maybe one day we'll do it, Butler.
All right, let's go right in.
Even though I've never lived in Texas, I have no idea what it's like to live in Frontera.
I agree with you. It's put in the wrong time. And I also agree this is a fantastic film. I always talk about how a film needs a theme along with the story, along with characters. And this does not, while the themes are strong, these are like really, really strong themes. They are not heavy handed. They are not going to beat you over the head with them in a melodramatic or just kind of like preachy kind of way. But the themes really carry strong with each character and with each story. And they're not separate stories like we've done with super separate stories like Go or 11-14. It's not like those vignette kind of films.
Right.
And yet it does tell 3 or 4 separate stories, but they are all in some way very cohesive. And it's I will say it's edited fantastically. The way they cut to different people's stories never feels jarring. I never go like, oh, but I was really interested in that part. It kept the flow really well, which I thought was good.
It's a complete movie. It's not 4 or 5 short films put together and try to connect it in some way, which it's not a negative. It's just not that. This is not
that kind of film. Right. Yeah, but it easily could have been.
Yes, you could.
But I think this works better.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree as well. Butler, where can they find us?
You can find us at ForgottenCinemaPodcast.com or ForgottenEntertainment.com, as we are part of the Forgotten Entertainment family. You can also find us on the social medias. We post every day of the week, so check those out. And again, you're listening to our podcast right now, wherever you're listening. Why don't you hit like a rating or leave a review, subscribe to us. All that kind of helps us grow our podcast so we can do more fun, cool things, I guess.
Fun, cool things.
Yeah.
So come back next week as Forgotten Summer rolls along towards the end. We're going to be going to 2004. We're talking about the movie Layer Cake, the British import starring somebody. Who was it again?
Daniel Craig.
Daniel Craig. I was going to say Daniel Baldwin. Daniel Craig.
This is the movie that got him chosen for James Bond.
Oh, there you go. Layer Cake next week. So I got nothing else. I'm Mike Field.
I'm Mike Butler.
And this has been Forgotten Cinema. Wait, Forgotten Summer.
You want to buy my rattlesnake skin?
Yeah.
It like jumped out of me in a box. So
And I murdered it because I was hunting in my trash. What was he in the junkyard?
Well, it was opening up a car.
I don't know. He said he was opening up a cooler. I thought.
Oh, something like that.
I don't know.
Whatever.
It was gross.
Do you want the snake skin or not?